I want every company out there to make good money. And if we see the organization as a machine, then that's enough. But if we see it as a living extension of ourselves, then it becomes reasonable to expect more, to aim not just for profitability, not even just for sustainability or responsibility, but for thrivability, in which the goal is to enable life to thrive as much as possible at every level, creating an organization that is successful and sustainable itself, and deeply nourishing for the people within, and enriching for the communities they serve, and in harmony with nature. The good news is that we're just starting to turn in that direction. We're just starting. And those few pioneering and cutting-edge companies are showing us that that direction leads to better results, including financial results. There's something that gives me hope, that we will get there. I mentioned at the beginning that this pattern of living systems is present even at the level of all humanity. Well, if you look at the eras of humanity, you see that each era has had a distinct guiding story. So the hunter-gatherer era and hunter-gatherer cultures that still exist today had a story of convergent wholeness with no perception of separateness at all. In the agricultural era, this is when we developed the ability to be in relationship with nature and each other and the world around us. It was a story of relationship. And the industrial era was clearly guided by a story of separateness and divergence. So the big question is, what's the next guiding story going to be? Well, I think many of you in the room are in Generation Y. And if you look at the stereotypes about Generation Y, at work in particular, you find some clues about that next guiding story. The stereotypes say that you got to be you, and you won't conform, because it's all about divergence. You insist on knowing how your work contributes to some larger, meaningful, convergent purpose or whole. You value the relationships in your social networks almost obsessively. And what I would add is that more than any generation before, you are able to integrate all of those into one coherent guiding story. And it's a fundamentally wiser story, seeking to serve the needs of the parts and the whole and the relationships that connect them, seeking to nourish life. So here's what you have to do. Here's what we all have to do, actually. First, we have to make the conscious choice that life is the true bottom line. And then we have to imagine that new guiding story together and give it details and make it real and viable. We have to gather together and ask ourselves, how can we reinvent our organizations so they nourish the life within us and around us as much as possible? How can we reimagine ourselves, not as consumers, not as human capital, but as vibrant, thriving contributors to the whole of life? How can we recraft the artifacts and architecture of our organizations and our societies so they support wiser, more life-sustaining ways of being? These are the conversations we need to have. And as we go into them, we can find courage in the fact that the goal of business to ensure sustainable competitiveness and the goal of humanity to ensure the sustainability of human life, these goals are coalescing for the first time since the Industrial Revolution. We're beginning to see that the machine story isn't working anymore. It's incomplete, and it cannot deliver the resilience and adaptability and creativity we need. And as we begin to recognize and steward the life in our organizations and in ourselves and in the world around us, we are ushering in a new guiding story, and therefore a new era for all humanity. An era, it seems, of thrivability. So I'll meet you there. Thank you.